The murderous wife who learned to kill from a CSI exhibit, a chilling case in California. A wife, a respected school principal, a husband, a devoted father, a family that seemed perfect. Until the husband's lifeless body was discovered in a remote almond orchard. No witnesses, no clear motive, no gunshots. And when the truth finally came to light, the one behind it all was the wife herself, and who had once learned how to cover up a crime at a CSI-themed exhibition. This isn't a movie, this is a true crime story, and today you'll hear the entire case from the beginning to the life sentence. Married life. Janaea and Todd. Janaea. Chance was born and raised in Bakersfield, California. She had been a model student, but at 22, she became a single mother after a painful breakup. But Janaea didn't fall apart. She raised her child while attending college, juggling 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Then fate introduced her to Todd Chance, a security guard at the pharmacy where she worked part-time. They got married in 1996, just 1 year after their first date. Janaea was highly ambitious. She climbed the ranks from teacher to vice principal, eventually becoming the principal of Fairview Elementary School. Todd, on the other hand, chose a simpler life, working as a truck driver and dedicating himself to raising their children. He adored Janaea's daughter as his own. Socially, they appeared to be the perfect couple: 3 daughters, a stable home, frequent vacations. No one could have imagined they would one day be at the center of a murder case that shocked all of Sunday morning, a body in the almond orchard. On the early morning of August 25th, 2013, the skies over Bakersfield, California were clear. A gentle breeze drifted through the endless rows of almond trees on the outskirts of the city. It seemed like just another peaceful day. Around 9 a.m., a local farmer doing a routine check of his orchard made a chilling discovery: the lifeless body of a man lying motionless between 2 rows of trees. The body was positioned on its side, with no signs of struggle or movement. No vehicle was found nearby. Police were quickly called to the scene. Inside the victim's intact wallet, they identified him as Todd Chance, 45 years old, a married man with no criminal record and no prior involvement in any investigations. What struck officers as odd was that Todd's wallet, credit cards, and identification were all untouched, a clear indication that this wasn't a robbery. About 40 feet, 12 meters away from the body, a cell phone was found tossed under a bush, still charged and undamaged. A preliminary examination revealed Todd had been shot 3 times, twice in the chest and once in the hand, as if he had tried to shield himself in a desperate moment. The last shot appeared to have been fired at point-blank range. There were no signs of a struggle, no suspicious tire tracks, and not a single witness reported hearing gunshots, even though the orchard wasn't far from residential areas. Everything was silent, too silent, and that silence led investigators to believe this wasn't a random killing. Someone had planned this, someone wanted Todd dead, in a cold, clean, and quiet way. The start of the investigation, contradictory statements. Once police confirmed the victim was Todd Chance, they immediately headed to his residence, a quiet suburban home in Bakersfield, where Todd lived with his wife, Janaea, and their 3 daughters. Janaea greeted the investigators with a surprisingly calm demeanor. She said she was very worried because she hadn't been able to contact her husband since early morning, but tried to stay composed so as not to alarm the children. Her face showed no signs of panic, and she didn't shed a tear, something that struck a few officers as odd. When asked when she last saw her husband, Janaea replied, "Around 7:30 a.m., he said he was going to a gun exhibition." Janaea explained that Todd was an avid collector of antique firearms and occasionally carried one with him when he went out, though she personally disapproved. When asked to check Todd's collection, Janaea quickly pointed out that one revolver was missing, an old .38 caliber. She believed it was the one he took with him that morning. She emphasized that it was a gun Todd rarely used. This detail raised red flags for investigators. It was oddly specific, almost as if she had rehearsed it. That same day, police expanded the search area around the orchard where Todd's body was found. Before long, they located his black Ford Mustang, a car Todd frequently drove. It had been abandoned in a southwest Bakersfield neighborhood known for high crime rates, including drug activity and robberies. But what truly puzzled police was how the car appeared. The doors were unlocked. There were no signs of forced entry or broken windows. And on the floor of the car lay the missing .38 revolver, the very one Janaea had described. 3 bullets remained in the cylinder. 2 had been fired. Something didn't add up. If this had been a carjacking, why hadn't anything been stolen? Why leave the murder weapon behind? Why abandon the car in a dangerous area? Unless it was meant to mislead the investigation. While the location suggested a random act of violence, the details were far too tidy. No bloodstains in the car, no foreign fingerprints, no suspicious objects. Everything was clean, almost as if a stage had been carefully set, waiting for police to walk in. This didn't look like a spontaneous crime. It looked like a carefully orchestrated plan, and the person behind it clearly wanted detectives to believe Todd was killed in a random carjacking gone wrong. But through their instincts and trained eyes, investigators had a gut feeling. We're not looking at a robbery, we're looking at a well-directed crime scene. Cameras, disguises, and lies. When the crime scene investigation yielded no major breakthroughs, detectives turned to another crucial tool: security cameras in the area where Todd's Mustang had been abandoned. It didn't take long to uncover the first strange clue. A nearby family had installed surveillance cameras around their home due to the neighborhood's known crime issues. Footage from their camera captured a person walking away from the car around 9 a.m., just a little over an hour after Janaea claimed her husband had left home. The individual was dressed in baggy clothing, wore a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses that covered most of their face. The walk was light and smooth, not the stride of a typical man. In fact, the figure appeared shorter, with small, deliberate steps. Immediately, police suspected this was not a man. The person's build, gestures, and walk all suggested something else. This could be a woman intentionally disguised as a man. As they continued scanning the neighborhood, footage from a nearby Starbucks just a few hundred meters away provided a clearer look. Around 9:15 a.m., the same suspicious figure entered the cafe and walked straight into the restroom. 5 minutes later, the individual emerged wearing a completely different outfit, a lighter shirt, no cap, and now wearing a face mask. Employees at the store said the person bought a single bottle of water, didn't speak to anyone, and quickly left. A regular customer told police, "I'm pretty sure that was a woman. Her walk was too soft. And when she passed by, I could smell a faint scent of perfume." Detectives continued tracking her movement using a security camera from a hardware store across the street. That footage showed the suspect quietly discarding a bag of clothes behind some large soil bags stacked against the back wall. It was likely the same disguise outfit used to mislead cameras and eyewitnesses. But by the time investigators returned to the spot, the area was empty. All the garbage had been collected and disposed of just a few hours after the suspect left. A crucial piece of evidence, lost forever, simply because they were a few hours late. Still, Even without recovering the clothing, the series of actions captured by the cameras, the outfit change, the way she walked, the timing of her departure, and the unusually cautious behavior only strengthened the suspicion that this was no random crime. Someone had planned each move carefully, including how to mislead surveillance and dispose of evidence. And to experienced detectives, one thing was clear: the more meticulously a crime is planned, the more likely it is to expose hidden cracks. CSI did a crime exhibit teach her how to kill. As the investigation began to stall due to a lack of direct evidence, detectives shifted focus to Janaea and Todd's recent past, including family trips, social relationship, and daily routines. That's when they uncovered a detail that seemed harmless at first, but would later become a key piece in the puzzle. About a year before Todd's murder, the Chance family had taken a vacation to Las Vegas. Among their activities, they visited a popular attraction at the MGM Grand Hotel, an interactive exhibit called CSI The Experience. This hands on exhibit, inspired by the hit TV show CSI Crime Scene Investigation, allowed visitors to step into the role of a crime scene investigator. Participants were guided through simulated crime scenes to search for clues, analyze evidence, and solve fictional cases. One scenario in the exhibit stood out in particular. A wife shoots her ex-husband. She hides a body in a remote area, leaves the scene, changes her clothes, and disposes of the outfit to avoid forensic tracking. Investigators began forming a chilling theory. Could Janaea, an intelligent, highly organized woman, have learned how to plan her husband's murder from this very exhibit? Todd had been killed in a remote orchard. His car was abandoned far away with no obvious traceable evidence. The suspect changed clothes mid route to avoid identification on security cameras. All of it bore a striking resemblance to the scenario taught in the CSI attraction. There was no proof that Janaea wrote anything down or explicitly discussed this plan, but the parallels were too precise to ignore. Detectives believed this wasn't a coincidence, this was a deliberate reenactment. And that strengthened their suspicion even further, that Janaea hadn't just decided to kill Todd on a whim. She had planned it in advance, step by step. And she didn't just want him dead, she wanted to create the perfect crime. The computer, the invisible clue. During questioning, when asked about the morning of the murder, Jenna firmly stated that she had been home working on her computer. She claimed she was preparing lesson plans and checking school emails from around 7:30 a.m. to nearly 10 a.m., the exact time frame during which Todd was believed to have left home and subsequently disappeared. Police didn't rush to dismiss her story. Instead, they sent Janaea's computer to the FBI's digital forensics team for a detailed analysis of the hard drive and user activity. The results were startling. During the entire time frame Janaea had described, there was no activity recorded, no emails opened, no browser usage, no typing, no logins, no user interactions at all. The hard drive was completely silent, just like the way Todd had been killed. Janaea had lied. And sometimes the most powerful evidence isn't found in what's there, but in what's entirely missing. The trial and final verdict. After nearly 3 years of gathering evidence, analyzing digital data, cross checking testimonies, and piecing together the strange details surrounding the case, prosecutors believed the time had come to bring the truth to light. In December 2016, police officially arrested Janaea Chance, once praised as the model of a modern woman, a wife, a mother, and the respected principal of an elementary school. Her trial began in January 2020 at the Kern County Courthouse in California, drawing heavy attention from the media and local community. Many found it hard to believe that the woman who had once inspired countless students could be the cold-blooded killer in such a calculated crime. In a court, the prosecution laid out a compelling and logical case built almost entirely on circumstantial but cohesive evidence. First, Janaea had discovered that Todd had secretly reconnected with an ex-girlfriend on social media back in 2012. The messages between them weren't just friendly, they were flirtatious, included provocative photos, and even suggested rekindling the relationship. Second, had Janaea chosen to divorce Todd, she would have faced the division of assets and possibly court ordered spousal support, as Todd earned less and mainly worked as a truck driver. And most crucially, Todd held a life insurance policy worth $250,000, with Janaea as the sole beneficiary. From jealousy and emotional betrayal to financial pressure, prosecutors painted a clear picture. Janaea didn't just want to get rid of a cheating husband, she wanted to eliminate him and control the financial fallout all at once. Her defense attorneys tried to portray her as a woman pushed to her emotional limit, possibly acting in a moment of weakness. But the physical evidence, fingerprints, DNA, her proven lies about the computer activity, and the surveillance footage made that defense crumble. After 4.5 weeks of testimony, the jury reached its verdict. Jenna Chance was found guilty of first-degree murder, the most serious charge under U.S. criminal law. In September 2020, she was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for at least 25 years. Unless that sentence is somehow overturned, Janaea will remain behind bars until at least the year 2041, when she will be 74 years old. Janaea Chance, a woman who once overcame adversity, who had been a resilient single mother and a respected school principal, ultimately destroyed everything she had built out of hatred, jealousy, and a need for control. She didn't just kill her husband, she orchestrated every detail like a carefully scripted play, choosing the timing, the location, the weapon, and even planning how to erase the evidence and mislead the investigation. But like every crime that's been scripted, there are always cracks, small, seemingly harmless details that end up unraveling the entire cold-blooded plan. This story isn't just a murder case, it's a warning. A reminder that when hatred is combined with misdirected intelligence, it can become the most dangerous weapon of all. And that, no matter how cleverly it's hidden, truth always finds a way to come to light.